even believe that I'm still walking with Christ. If you all knew me when I was younger, I mean, I was a pretty rough dude. And I'm not here, I don't want to really talk about the bad things I did and how bad I was because of all the victims that were in my situation. There were people that I robbed, my neighbors, my family. I mean, I was pretty treacherous. And out of respect for them, I really don't want to blow myself up like I was the baddest dude on the street because I was a nobody. I was a bum. I weighed 130 pounds. I was strung out on heroin. I was a no good, bum. That's basically what I'll say. I had nowhere to go. I didn't even have a house. I was homeless, living in the streets of New York. I would go from abandoned building to abandoned building. I would sleep on the subways. I'd sleep on the golf course. I would do whatever it took. But in the meantime, I always had to go get that bag of dope. We talk about, I was lost and then I was found. How many know that expression, I was lost and I was found? Let me tell you, I wasn't lost. I knew where I was going. I was going to get a bag of dope. And I didn't care about a rat's butt for nobody else. I didn't care about you, my mother, my grandmother, my father, nobody. I was a pretty bad mother. Damn, and that's all I could say. I mean, when I was 19 years old, my next door neighbor who used to drive me to school when I was about 9 years old, and I used to see her when I was a little kid, she used to stop the car and put the keys under the mat. I scoped that out when I was 9 years old. 10 years later, I was 19 years old. They just bought a brand new car. It was a 1979 Grand Prix, and I knew them keys were going to be under that mat. Guess what? I stole that car. I mean, them people, they still hate me. There's some things you cannot change. I've done so much bad stuff in my life, I can't change people's opinions of myself. But the only thing I could do is do the right thing and continue to walk with Christ, because that's the only way I can make amends. And I'm going to just share how I got hooked up with God. I was homeless. My sister was a Christian. Okay, I came to an event, not it was an event, but a church event for like a car. But I wasn't going for a car. I was going for a hot meal and a shower. I asked my sister if I can come to her house because the streets were killing me. I mean, I was a bum. I mean, I was shooting probably about $300 worth a day of dope, coke, eating Valiums, drinking like a fiend. I mean, I was dead. I OD'd 3 times. Okay, here's what God can do. He'll take a nobody, turn him into somebody in front of everybody. That's what my God can do. And why he chose me, I still don't know. Because I don't deserve it. My brother died of a cocaine overdose. He did an ounce of dope. Killed him on the spot. My cousin who sold me the ounce of coke shot himself in the head because he felt so bad he sold my brother these drugs. Now I know God has me here for a reason. I know when he calls me out to speak about my addiction, my heroin, my drinking, and all that bad stuff, there's got to be somebody here who's got hooked up on it or is either thinking about it or is coming through it. Let me tell you, the only one that can change you is Christ. I don't go to no 12-step program. I got nothing against no 12-step programs. I went to Christ. I got on my knees and I said, Jesus, forgive me. And let me tell you what changed my heart, because you could take away the drugs, you could take away the alcohol, but you're still left with the man. I mean, I had no hope. I was like, let me just kind of catch my thoughts here, because when you just don't have no self-value when you're a drug addict. You have no sense of worthlessness. You're worthless. You're just like your existence is for what? What am I doing? I'm shooting dope every day. I'm robbing people. I woke up every day to rob somebody. So I was in a state of depression. I mean, my physical state, I was beat down, but my mental and my emotional state was probably lower than the gutter. See, and that's what you're left with. God, what changes that is if you start reading the Word of God, you get renewed in your mind. And that's what I started to do. I started to read His Word. I didn't even know what I was reading, but I started to read it. And I started reading Psalm 1. And in Psalm 1, the Bible says, let me see what it says. It says, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of the sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law, and in this law does he meditate day and night. For he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, which shall give forth fruit in its season. I read that, and I was like, damn. I'm on this side of that. I'm sitting with the scornful. I'm sitting with the bums. I said, how do I get to the other side of it? I mean, clearly remember this. I've been saved for 30 years. And it's a miracle that I'm still here. I ain't shot drugs in 30 years. And I mean, I don't know if anybody knows about a heroin addiction, but that's like, that blows me away. I mean, I got a nice house, I got a nice family, I got 5 kids, you know, I got 5 grandchildren. I wouldn't have had all that if I didn't stop using drugs. I'd have been dead, or I would have been in prison. You know, that's where I would have been. But I said, I'm going to give myself a chance. And I went to church with my sister, and the guy made an altar call. I was sitting way in the back, probably like somebody here. I didn't care about Jesus. I didn't care about what was going on. All I cared about was that food and that hot shower I can get, like that car over there. Well, let me tell you what. I don't care about that car, because you know what? When I was a drug addict, the only car I had was the ones I stole. But since I got saved, I ain't worried about a car. I ain't never run out of gas. I mean, I had an Escalade. I mean, I had motorcycles. God has blessed me so much, and beyond any car. He got a blessing that can fill this whole park for you. That's what God can do. He can change your life. He can give you an inspiration. He can give you a worth. He can tell you, you know, give you a value. And the value that he gave me was my family. I'm a family man. I mean, I'm just a regular dude. I ain't out here every day telling everybody they need Jesus or shoving Jesus down people's throat. I'm a normal dude. Well, I might have exaggerated a little bit there. I ain't that normal. But anyway, you know, let me tell you, I'm just a normal guy. I go to work every day. I do drywall. You think, oh, it's a drywall bum. Most people think drywall is a bum, but it's not. I'm not a bum. I'm a hard worker. And that drywall has provided for my family. I raised, my oldest son is 36. He's successful. I have a daughter that works for Kraft Food. She's on a national account. She's very successful. I have another daughter that she's going to be a parole and a probation officer. She works in the parole department. I mean, I must have done something right. I scared the heck out of my kid. That's what I did. And you know what? And you got to understand that. I'm going to leave you with this, because I don't want to drag a lot of time. You know, we always think that everybody's family, if you're a Christian, your family is going to be perfect. It ain't that way. Let me tell you, we live in a real world. Okay, ain't nobody perfect. I ain't perfect. You come and drive in my truck for about 2 weeks, you'll find out, you wonder, is this guy saved? Because I ain't perfect. But I know that if I keep getting up every day, I don't do no drugs, I don't rob nobody, I go to work, I put the check on the table, that's the best I could do. And that's what I do every day. I get my cup of coffee and I go to work. God changed my life. He changed my habits. But you know, some of our children are not so perfect. And I think that's the way God looks at us. He looks at me like, you know, I'm not perfect, but that's our Father. He loves us. So my children are not all perfect, but I look at them and I love them. And I ain't giving up on my kids. You know, I just love the heck out of them, and I'd never disown them. And that's the way God views us. He is our Father, and He doesn't expect us to be perfect. But like me, rooting for my kids go, or my grandchildren's go, because it makes me feel so good when my kids are successful. It just makes me feel proud and happy. So imagine that's how God feels when He looks at us now and He says, go, Frankie, go, you can do it. You can tell them exactly what they want to hear. Frankie, you can tell them they need Jesus. Oh, they need Jesus. That's what they need, Frankie. They need Jesus. Yeah. Grace. They need grace, Father. Father, what else you got to give them? I got joy. I got patience. I got peace. That's what God has to give. The world doesn't give you peace. Let me tell you, I am full of peace, and I'm patient now. That's the main thing. God He took a nobody, which was me. I had a cold heart. I told you I robbed my mother, my father, my neighbors. That's somebody who has a cold heart. Well, in the Bible it says God will take that heart of stone and He will give you a heart of flesh. Well, I have experienced that, and I'm not boasting, but I'm just telling you what God can do. He gave me a heart of flesh where I care about people. I ain't judging nobody out here. I ain't even judging myself. I love everyone here, and I'm the kind of dude that if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody shooting dope, I don't go tell them stop. I tell them, keep doing what you're doing, brother, but you know, there's a better way, man. Let me tell you, I have compassion, because that's what Christ has done. And you could tell the real deal. You know, when I was on the street shooting dope, we always used to say, go on the block, yo, who got the real McCoy? In other words, we were asking which one is killing people, because that's the one we wanted. We wanted the real McCoy. But what we were really searching for was the real Jesus. And when I found Jesus, let me tell you, I found the real McCoy. Because I got a good wife. I got a good family. I mean, let me tell you, I can't even believe it myself. I should have been in prison still for the stuff I did. But God, for some reason, chose to change my life. And that's all I could say. I'm going to leave it at that, man. If He changed my life, and I mean, what can He do for you? You know, he'll take you and he'll give you a purpose. He'll put happiness in your life. He'll put joy in your life. He'll put thankfulness. And the way to be happy is to be thankful. All I got to do is go home and take a shower. And I am so thankful, even today, 30 years later, because I remember when I didn't take a shower for 3 weeks. I had to go home and I get to open my own refrigerator and get some food out of there. I am so thankful because I remember when I was locked up, I didn't have no refrigerator and I couldn't open no refrigerator. But I got my own refrigerator now. I got a nice house. I put the keys in my car and I start up and I back it out the street. I ain't got to worry about no police pulling me over because it's my car. I own it. I have the registration. I pay the insurance. It ain't somebody else's car. And let me tell you, when I was a thief and I'd steal your car, it lasts for a little while, but next thing I know, I'm riding down the road, the wheel fall off. Oh hell, that's the curse. That's what the devil can do. He'll curse you. I mean, I'd have a little bit of money, it'd be gone. I started working in 1984 doing drywall for $5 an hour. Might sound, it wasn't a lot, but I thought to myself, I'm going to work hard for this $5 an hour, just as I would if it was $50 an hour, because I wanted to work hard. And I figured, let me give myself 1 year of living clean and to see what it can do, see what the difference was. I lived 1 year on that $5 an hour job. I was making about $200 a week. At the end of that year, I paid my rent every month. I paid my electric bill every month. I had a refrigerator. I ate and I had food. But the main thing is I had 3 cars. I owned 3 cars. And they're all registered and insured under my name. I was like, damn, that's a good year. I'm going to try another one. My second year, let me tell you what, my second year serving God and walking with God and trying to do the right thing and not spending my money on heroin and coke and booze and all that garbage. I wasn't making a lot of money, but my second year I walked up to a brand new house. I had the keys to a house. So in 2 years, I went from homelessness to homeowner. That's what God can do. I didn't do that. That's what He did. Now that's just only in 2 years. Could you imagine 30 years? I mean, if I add up all the blessings and all, I mean, I've been through some hard times, let me tell you. I mean, somebody that went through what I went through in my life in the last 30 years is doing the right thing, should have been shooting dope. But I know that was not what I was going to do because God made a promise to me when I gave my life to Him. The preacher said to me that I would never be able to go back. That God had a high calling on my life and He was going to remove the noose that was around my neck. And it was never going to be allowed to be put back there again. And that's what He did. That was His promise. But the thing of it is I had to do something too. You see, God gave me so much grace that I knew if I went and turned around and peed on His grace, it would have been disrespectful. It would have been the worst thing I could have done. I'd have been cockroached. I'd have been stamped out. No deal. But I knew that I just had to just keep serving Christ with where I was at. So I woke up. I was a tough dude. I was angry. I was pissed. I'm like, I had a reason to be mad. All kinds of junk happened to me in my life. But I just went to Christ as I was, and I still am like I am. I ain't perfect. I'm just a regular dude, man. I grew up in New York and all that, and that kind of molded me into the person I am today. But God can use all that. He don't want you to be no phony. He wants you to be who you are. He created you perfect. He knows every hair on your head, and God wants to use you. I don't know for what. I don't know if it's for a ministry. It might just to be a good example to your children. I don't know what it's going to be for. It might just be to a good husband, to your wife, to come home and tell your wife you love her. It might just be for you, for the women to come home and bless her husband and love on him and love on your children. All this nonsense about us going home and aggravation and screaming at each other and I got this, I want that, this ain't enough. Guess what? That doesn't do nothing for nobody. Be thankful for what you got. There's a lot of people who ain't got nothing. Just be thankful if you got that little mat to lie on. You got that little refrigerator with a bottle of water in there. Be thankful for it and you'll see your attitude change. Don't be going, oh, man, somebody's going to win this car. Let me tell you, somebody here is going to win this car. But I'm challenging everybody. This is my last thing. I'm challenging everybody to be happy for that person who wins that car. Don't go out here, oh, he won the car, blah, blah, blah. Be thankful and be happy. I want that person to win that car. I want that person to walk with Christ. I want you to do good. I want you to be blessed. I want to bless you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit in Jesus' name.